Okay, welcome to our discussion today. What we are going to touch on is this story about these two gentlemen, both from the armed forces and both running training companies. Now, what would be the difference between trainers who come from an armed forces background and trainers who come from a different background? What would be the stories from armed forces that would be relevant to what we do in the training business? How can the experiences in the armed forces actually expose us to different management skills, management competencies? What are the impacts? So with me today, as a background, I'm a retired naval officer. So retired at the rank of a Navy lieutenant. And with me, we have Major Dr. Prabhagaran. He retired as an Army officer. So today we'll be having some stories from the Army and some stories from the Navy, and we'll see how these stories impact management lessons during training programs.
Well, Siva, you are bringing me to 1985. 35 years ago,
Okay.
I was a student, a first-year student at USM, University Science Malaysia in Penang, and I was a member of Road 2, Reserve Officers Training Unit. We call that Palapis, yeah? But interestingly, I was the first batch of Police Road 2 in Malaysia. It was a kind of a pilot project. And one of the requirements as a student, every Wednesday, we are required to wear uniform. And to tell you the truth, we were all excited to wear the amazing uniform and get ready for class. Whether there is or no class in the morning, we will be there in front of the library with our uniform. For me, you see, in order for us to be ready with uniform, for example, by 8 o'clock for class, we got to wake up early, or even a day before that, we got to keep our polished shoes, ironed uniform, and get ready early morning. And this is behavior that forms your character. And more importantly, you have that experience, Siva. Once we are in uniform, the way we talk, the way we walk, the way we behave changes. So the uniform always reminds me that I am more than merely Prabha, but I represent an institution. So that gives you some sense of pride, responsibility, and a sense of self-esteem, I must say. Whether it's a military uniform or your company uniform or your NGO's uniform, the uniform matters because it brings you as an ambassador of your organization.
Beautiful. I have the personal experience, the same personal experience. The first time I was wearing uniform, and one funny incident that I had was I had a senior trainer, Ishiman then, giving me instructions, and this guy was my student when we were in Kampong. So
Interesting.
the uniform on, it is just focusing on who we are as that uniform person. So all I could think of is just the team spirit as one uniform body, one intake. My degree, everything has to be put aside. The unity was important. The team goals were important. The team result was more important. And at that point of time, when he gave me instruction, one of the instructions that was given to me was go and sleep in a longkang.
Okay.
For me, it is not a matter of who I am. It is a matter of my team and what we should do. So all I could think of is this is a team effort. Jump into the longkang and sleep. The pride of uniform brings us together. And I think in corporate world, the same thing happens whether there is a uniform or not. The moment we are in one team, in a way, we are wearing one uniform. It unifies us as one team and driving team goals. I remember you were sharing the story of one of your training moment where there was some incident with your instructors. Can you share a bit on that?
Sure, Siva. That was around 1988. We were required to go for a jungle training, and that was done at police field force at Ulu Kinta near Ipoh in Perak. Yeah, and we were in the jungle for our training, and that morning after we left the camp, some of our officers and fellow instructors, they went for some other duties, and there were a major accident, and one of our instructor, who used to be a very fierce guy, coincidentally the day before the accident, he was super nice. We were quite surprised, but he died in that accident, and a couple of other instructors were also badly injured, and it was quite a tragic moment. But interestingly, the training went on as planned. No major changes, a little bit of adaptation. And COVID MCO now gave us a lot of opportunity for reflection. And that incident keeps coming to me, whether as a corporate figure or as any other institution. Challenges, crises, barriers, these are all part and parcel of our life. That incident taught me, you have a mission to do, move on, get it done, compartmentalize the issue, let the issue be addressed as it's supposed to be. Don't mix it up. Don't expect your plan to go on as planned. Expecting anything to go on as planned is an unreasonable expectation. If everything goes on as planned, they don't need officers and executive and senior management. It can be make it as a system. It can be procedural, like being in McDonald's. With due respect to McDonald's or KFC, you don't have to be an expert to work in the kitchen. Our children who don't even know to make nasi goreng, they can be working in McDonald's because it's a very stable, structured process. But in business world, especially at the top level, change and crisis is a daily event. So that experience, the way our officers managed that situation without mixing all the emotion and without sharing all the sad story immediately, they focus on getting the training done. And reflecting on it, any challenges, COVID is not the first and it's not going to be the last. It's a great reminder that we will have challenges. Always use that challenges to become better, to be more resilient, to bring the best out of you and face the situation.
I think that is a very powerful message. If everything is status quo, then what is the value add by managers and leaders, right? I had one interesting experience on a crisis as well. Like you said, things don't really go according to plan. I remember visiting Lima Maritime Exhibition. I was part of the organizing committee, and we planned everything to the second, to the minute details. And the opening ceremony was supposed to be by Tun Mahathir, and he was supposed to come with the wife, Tun Siti Hasma. So everything was planned, everything was beautiful. But what happened was, in that morning, the opening ceremony was on board a ship. So we had the tents already, we had all the VIPs waiting, and a storm hit us. There was a major storm. All the tents were blown away. I remember grabbing Dato' Syed Amin Alba, pushing him to go to safety because he refused to move until the Prime Minister arrives. But the interesting thing is, we communicated that to Tun Mahathir, told him not to come because of the storm. But what he did was just the opposite. He came, and the Navy ships, the gangway going up is so narrow. So we couldn't
Of course.
give him an umbrella, we couldn't protect him. He had to go up on his own, and because of the storm, the gangway was just moving and it was dangerous. But he refused to turn back, and he went on board. And Tun Siti Hasma also followed him and went on board. And we continued with the opening ceremony with tea break. So the opening ceremony didn't happen, it was tea break. What Tun Mahathir told us was that the guests are there. As a leader, I must be there to host. That is a sign of a great leader. You never abandon your team members. I think that message, you can bring it to corporate. A leader will never abandon his team. At the current moment, we have a crisis. What leaders should look at is how to protect the team. A storm may come, it can be injurious to them, but a true leader will be there to persevere and protect his team. Maybe you can share with me one such incident where you were given an opportunity, you grabbed it, although you had your fears, but that transformed your life.
Interesting, Siva. Let me bring you to 1993. I think that is the year you joined the Navy as a graduate officer. Yeah. So I was the education officer at Sekolah Pegawai, the officers training school, and I'm a graduate in chemistry with education. So my commanding officer then, Commander Mazuki Andong, he called me aside. Prabha, you are an education officer. I need you to help the cadets. Their English is very poor, and I want you to help them with public speaking. And you know, if it's coming from commanding officer, it's not a help or request. Yeah, you get it done.
Exactly.
And those days, there's no such thing as YouTube or Google for it or whatever. And I spent a couple of days in KD Plando library and prepared. I was so excited. And the day came at the Wisma Surya, the cadet mess. All the cadets were gathered. The duty officer was introducing me with the nice words. You know, we are lucky to have a new education officer who's going to help us with public speaking, etc. That moment, Siva, my hand was literally shivering. I could feel it shivering. But I believe my army training helped me to overcome and manage that fear and transform that fear into a strength. And I actually concluded the 1 hour session and went on pretty well, but was a great lesson. The next morning, Commander Mazuki Andong called me aside, said, hey, Prabha, perhaps you can also explore how to improve public speaking. That inspired me to go and join Toastmasters Club. I'm a chemistry graduate. I'm an estate boy. Yeah? I'm not an English-speaking community. Yeah? So I joined the Toastmasters, and later I had a chance to go to United States for military training. I was lucky to be the best education officer in 1993. That helped me to get a scholarship by International Military Education Training to US. And the training and the pride of the Malaysian uniform again, because in US, I'm not talking about army uniform, I'm also holding Malaysian flag. I was the best student in my cohort, and I was given the privilege to give a graduation speech.
Beautiful messages, sir. First, you grabbed that opportunity. You know, when you were not sure whether you're prepared for it, but you still grabbed it. This is like, you know, something that I got from Sir Richard Branson. When you're given an opportunity, grab it first, right? Then learn how to do it. You just did that, and that actually made you to give that speech at the graduation ceremony in the US, and that also changed you into a person who's now training others to become trainers. Has also impacted, you know, allowed you to impact a lot of lives. Many people I speak to, they have told me about how your program is changing their lives. Now, I'm sure there are so many other stories, so many juicy stories in the armed forces. Some we are not at liberty to videos. This is the unique thing. If you want to experience management competencies, management lessons, and from military kind of exposure, personal experiences of me and Dr. Prabha, then join one of our programs. It can be the teaching program that Dr. Prabha is so popularly known for. It can be the emotional intelligence or KPI programs that I run.